Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy James from Forte, and today we're gonna be dynoing the Macan, man. So you guys already know I just did the Cobb Stage 1 tune, so we're gonna be getting 2 runs of the Stage 1 and then also flashing it back to stock and seeing what the comparisons are. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all the data to see if the Cobb tune is worth it, see how much power do you actually gain. So we'll go ahead and test that today. All right, let's get to it. So let's go over the results of the dyno. Again, special shout out to Euro Empire for always getting me in on my dynos and allowing me to dyno my car at their shop. If you're looking for an all-wheel drive link dyno, only one in the area, gotta hit up Euro Empire. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the dyno results. So I did 2 runs on the Cobb Stage 1 tune, and then I also did 2 runs on stock power. So I flashed back to stock, let the car sit for a while, and then we re-dynoed there, so we can kind of get like a baseline and then kind of also compare it to the Cobb tune. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over those numbers for you now. I'll be overlaying them on the screen so you guys can actually see them. So what we got right here is the red and the blue are the 2 stock runs. All right, so we got 314 horse, 313 horse, and then torque 357, 350. All right, so those are the 2 stock runs, and then we had the bottom 2, the green and the orange, is going to be the 2 Cobb Stage 1 runs. So we got 329, 318. Then we got torque 402 and pretty much 400 torque. So you can kind of see there the car made a lot of torque. Horsepower gains, not so much. But you can't always just look at peak numbers. You have to look at the area under the curve. And that's what we're going to go into right now. So what I did was, to make it a little easier, I just did the best stock run versus the best Cobb run. And we're going to look at that data right now. All right, so looking at this data right here. So right now we're going to have the top, the red is going to be stock power. And then we have the green, which is going to be Cobb Stage 1 power. All right, so if you look at around 3K, you can really see that's where the Cobb tuner really starts adding power. So around 3K, you can see right there, you're getting about, I would say, because I say from line to line is 50. So about half of that, so that's about 25 in the horse. And I would say about 25 in torque gains right there at right around 3K. Then when you get the 3.5K, that goes up even more. So I would say right around 4K, you're getting maybe a little over 50 horse, a little over 50 torque and gains and power. But you won't see that if you just look at the peak numbers. It's really the area under the curve that you need to look at when you look at dyno graphs, comparing base versus the after tune, the after effect, or whatever the tune is. So you have to look at the area underneath the curve. The area underneath the curve tells you the true story. It really just going to show you here that you're making more power than just, the difference between, the 15 horsepower, the 16 horsepower, or whatever that this is saying that you made way more than that in the power bands. And the one thing I like about it is 3.5 to 5.5, even let's say 3 to 5.5, 3 to 6. It's kind of where we live in our car, especially in the Macan. It's very punchy from 3 to 5 RPM, and this is where we live in the car. And for this Cobb tune adds gains throughout it. Like, I know when I got into the car right after it was tuned, I can definitely tell it had more punch in the mid-range, and this tune right here just adds a bunch of punch in the mid-range. It doesn't give you a tremendous amount in peak gains, but as far as mid-range, as far as power and torque, you definitely feel the difference. I mean, and you do get a lot more torque. The torque comes in really nice, comes in early, and you're getting 402 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot. And that torque is really what's going to get you moving and push you back in the seat. And so that gives you that jolt feeling, you know what I mean, that you feel whenever you really hit it. So, I mean, that's a good amount of torque. And power, I'm not going to lie, I thought the power would be a little more. But hey, you know, it is what it is at this point. I think this car right now, Dyno, and this is on a Dyno Jet all-wheel drive. I think the car is dynoing a little more than what it should be. I did just do a fresh oil change. We'll be having an oil change video pop on the channel soon. So if you're looking for how to change your oil in your Macan 95B, subscribe, stay tuned for that. I'll be having a detailed video on how to change the oil in the Macan as well. But I think this car is dynoing a little higher than what it should. And what I mean by that, I got numbers for that too, so I'm gonna go into that. So this is a graph that I made that I'm just looking at. So the Macan S 2019 is rated for 348 horse and 354 pound-feet of torque. All right, so usually rule of thumb, all-wheel drive cars take off about 20%, and then that'll be your wheel number. That's about rule of thumb. Me being in the BMW community for a very long time, for BMWs is a lot less than that. They just, the way they put the power down, or they just underrate their cars probably, but the way they put power down is very different. But I have noticed in other cars that they are pretty around that 15 to 20%. So we're doing 20% for everything, just to kind of keep it consistent, right? So if you take 20%, so basically you take 80% of the crank numbers to get your wheel numbers, right? So if you look at where I have the rated column, so really technically this car should be putting down about 278 and 283 at the wheels, technically based off the crank numbers that they report. All right, and as you guys know, my car stock put down 314 horse and 357 pound-feet of torque stock. So my car torque is making more torque than it's even advertised, which, you know, I see that in BMWs all the time. I didn't know, see it in my car was a little like, wow, okay. So based on where my car dynoed stock, the car really should be rated around 377 horse and 428 pound-feet of torque, which is kind of interesting that they were underrated that much. But I'm not that surprised. There has been a lot of underrating, especially on the BMW end. Like I said, I'm really new to the Porsche game, so you guys let me know down in the comments, is that normal for Porsches to be underrated like that? And then if you look at the Cobb tune, and then you look at the bottom, horsepower and torque based on the Cobb numbers. So right now my car at the crank is making about 395 horse and about 482 pound-feet of torque. So that's not bad numbers for this car. You know, 400 horse at the crank, almost 500 torque at the crank. That's actually not that bad based on the numbers that we've got off just the stage 1 tune. And I've been told that the Cobb tune is pretty. I mean, it's not that aggressive. You know, it's safe. It's 50 state legal. You don't have to worry about any issues, no emissions. You'll be able to pass all your emissions tests. So you don't have to worry about anything like that too. So I will be running this tune for a while. I do plan on also trying out the APR tune just to kind of have another comparison, so you guys can really figure out which tune will be best for you and actually which one will make more power and which one is the best bang for buck. All right, so and if you see the far right column here, just going over the gains. These are peak gains, so you have 15 peak, 45 torque, and then if you look at crank numbers, 18 and 54. So that is the dyno numbers there that we have for the Macan S, man. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, please put them in the comments down below. One thing that I did just think about is, so when you dyno your Macan, if you have the Cobb tuner, you can use the Cobb tuner to put the car in dyno mode. So basically you just plug the Cobb tuner inside the car, and then once you plug it into the car, you go to troubleshooting, and then you go down to the dyno mode. So if you don't have access to an all-wheel drive dyno, you can dyno in two-wheel drive mode. I would recommend dynoing the car in all-wheel drive mode because it is an all-wheel drive car. So it just makes sense to dyno in all-wheel drive. So you don't have to make sure you don't run into any issues. I always recommend, if whatever drive car you have, dyno the car in that mode. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys that as well, that you can use the Cobb tuner to put the car in dyno mode. But that's gonna be today's video. I hope you guys like the actual numbers, the Dyno numbers. The Macan feels a lot better to drive. I still need the throttle commander because it is still a little laggy in initial getting going. So we're gonna work on that as well. All right. So I hope you guys have a nice, wonderful day, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.